In this video, we're going to make Cassidy AI seriously smart by connecting it to our business's Notion database. If you're not familiar with Cassidy AI, it's a new tool that specializes in helping you create AI assistants and workflows that are trained on your business knowledge. So let's dive in and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Now we're over here in the Cassidy user interface. So if you haven't seen this before, be sure to check out my first video where I talk about how I think Cassidy AI is going to shock the entire industry. And I do a quick run through of the user interface and all of the main features in there. And if you want to try all this stuff out yourself, check the link below this video. I've got a link down there for a free trial to Cassidy AI that gives you some free credits to get started. And then also for anybody that joins through that link, I'm also going to give you 2 of my specialized AI assistants that you'll be able to build right into your account to help you get more work done more quickly in your business. So to get Cassidy connected to our data, we have to head over to the knowledge base section. So you'll see that over here on the right under knowledge base, and we're going to click on that. And then up here, you'll notice that there's a hierarchical folder structure here. So as you start adding data sources to Cassidy, you can organize them into folders maybe by department or type of data or whatever it may be. And if you click new, you can create a whole bunch of new connections here. So we can create folders, we can upload documents, import a whole website, connect to some of these other systems. But for this video, we're going to focus on Notion. So we're going to go down here and click import from Notion. And the first step is you're going to have to connect it to your Notion account. So then we click this button and connect it to our Notion database. So the thing it'll ask you for in here first up here is you want to pick your specific Notion workspace. So I'm going to go pick one of ours. And then it's basically saying, hey, Cassidy is requesting access to it. And then it'll give you permissions to the pages you select. And you have a couple options in here. So, it's going to give you access to the pages. And then down here, you can view workspace users. So those are going to be the 2 permissions that you're going to need. So it needs to be able to see the pages, and then it needs to be able to see the user so it can figure out what you have access to. So what I like about this is you can select granular access here. So in my particular Notion space, we have a mix of my own internal business stuff in a bunch of team spaces. And then we also have team spaces for some of our clients and other projects and things like that. So if I'm about to connect this data source and I want it just specifically for my internal company information, then I'm just going to select those workspaces and those particular pages. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to pick our main one. This is our main database, our expert business operating system. And that's where I've got, hundreds and hundreds of pages of information in there and everything about all of our content. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to come down here and then just click allow access. So that first step was enabling the access. Now all we're going to do is we're going to click on it, and then we're going to say import. And then you'll see that it'll sync there, and how much time that takes will depend on how much information is in there. This database of mine has a fair amount of information, and it'll just about take a minute or 2. Okay, so the Notion is synced up. Now it only says 1 page right here. So what I noticed is when I first connected the Notion integration, it gave me the top level pages that were in my workspace, which in my case is only 1, because in the way we have it set up, everything is nested under this 1 page at the top. So our expert business operating system, and then everything is underneath of that. So I thought that by selecting that, it would import everything, but it doesn't, because Notion is infinitely nestable, if that's a word. So there's a lot of stuff underneath of there. So what I was able to do is in the integration, and I'll show it in a minute once it's done, I was able to search for the particular databases that I wanted it to have connected. And so the one that I did here is under our content system, down in our content database. That is where, the vast majority of all of my content related information and text is. So I just selected content database, and now that is in the process of syncing over. And now we can see, there's multiple pages coming in as it goes through and processes all of that data. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new assistant that is pointed to and trained on the knowledge that is accessible now through Notion. So we're going to go over here to assistants and click on that, and then create new assistant. So here, as with everything else in Cassidy, it tries to speed things up by actually giving you almost a pre-prompt where you just tell it generally what you want it to do, and then it's going to go create the initial framework for that. So in here, I'm basically going to say, I want a new agent that is, in this case, it's going to be a content coach. So a lot of what I have inside of my content and the stuff that's there in Notion is all of the writing and things that we've done related to content creation at scale. So I'm going to create an assistant that is the content coach, and then we'll ask that coach some questions and see that it's trained on the data. Okay, so what I'm saying is I want a new agent. I want it to be a content coach for clients of the expert business agency, and this agent will answer questions about content planning, creation, and repurposing using knowledge from the expert business agency's Notion knowledge base. So we'll let that design the initial framework for the assistant. So it just created the initial framework for the assistant, and then there's going to be some follow-up questions. And so I'm going to skip these just for the sake of time, and we'll just let it continue with kind of the default answers. Now with this particular agent, we want to toggle this to on. So it's basically saying, is this a Q&A, answer assistant? And then if it is, should it be searching the connected knowledge bases and processing that information each time that it wants to make an answer? And in this case, yes, the purpose of this one will be a Q&A type of agent. So then the next step is selecting which knowledge base elements that you want this assistant to be connected to. So I've used some of these examples like in previous videos, but you don't always want to make each assistant see all of the knowledge because there might be conflicting information that's not relevant to that particular assistant. So as an example here, since this assistant is going to be designed for content coaching, some other things don't matter, like our audience information or other client information that we may have in different data sources and stuff like that. So we're really just focusing it down to Notion, which is where most of the knowledge that it needs is going to be. Then here are the instructions for the assistant that Cassidy AI has already generated for you as a starting point. This way you don't have to write in a whole bunch of long prompts yourself. You can basically go through and validate this information, make sure the instructions match what your intent is for the assistant, and then you can have it go. So pretty much is basically what you would think. It's saying you're a coach, here's what you're trying to do. Your primary role is to answer questions. You'll have access to this particular knowledge base, and you want to enrich your advice based on all of the methodologies and stuff that's in there, and then maintain a professional, communication with clients at all times. So let's click finish and have it create it. And just like that, we've created our assistant. So I'm going to go in here and let's make sure down here that we've got it now focused on the content database connection. So that's just a quick update to our assistant because I had to disconnect and reconnect it. And now we are ready to go. So we can open a chat with that assistant. And then again, what we're going to put in here is a question that can only be answered correctly by looking at our knowledge versus general knowledge. So what are the three main stages of the buyer's journey that should be part of your content strategy? I talk about that a lot. The right answers, at least as it comes from me, should be attracting an audience, converting them to customers, and then ascending them to higher level programs. So let's check and see. And there we go. So that is exactly what the answer should be. That's trained on our specific knowledge base. And then what I really love about Cassidy is the footnotes. So it's basically telling you where did it get the information from. And so it is from right here in Notion. And what's cool is these links take you right back into your Notion space. So just open it up in my other window here. But it basically said, hey, this is where that information came from. So down here, it's attract, convert, ascend. So that's where that information was coming from. And so that's one thing I like about it is you can quickly see that and say, yep, that's the right information, or there's a problem or something along those lines. So that's a quick example there. We could type another one. So here's another one. What are the 9 essential systems that all online businesses need? Yep, and I can see already it is getting the right information straight out of our Notion.